Multiple winter 2023 anime get delayed due to COVID-19. Cloverworks announces that Rascal Does Not Dream of Sister Venturing Out will come out this summer, and visuals for the new Pokémon anime feature the new protagonist. That and more on this episode of the Otaku Experience. Welcome to the Otaku Experience. I'm your host, Israel King, and I want to thank you so much for joining me in this episode 3. You know, I feel like the show is getting better with every episode. You know, I kind of had a little bit of a mental breakdown last episode. I had to take my focus pills, but I think, I'm a little tired today. So I think that it's going to balance itself out with the anticipation of and the excitement of wanting to give all the news to all you fine folks out there and this great opportunity that Robert Meyer Burnett has given me. But I think that it'll balance it out with me also being a little toned down today. So it kind of comes to the perfect storm of this really effective talking. At least that's my hope. I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. Anyways, it's been a crazy week. Titanic, my favorite movie, came out, re-released. Avatar topped it. Titanic topped it again. Kaguya movie came out, for 2 days this week. We'll talk about that. What was the release strategy on that? That was weird. And then, I don't know what any of this has to do with the show other than the Kaguya bit, but I don't know. It's been a weird week. It's been eventful. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania comes out this weekend. Those reviews have been very interesting, but you don't care about that. You want to know what is the news regarding anime and manga this week. Well, I'll tell you, there are a few quick stories that we need to get through before we get to our main stories of the day. And then at the end of the show, as always, we're going to go to your comments and questions that you left on the last episode. How do you get a comment or question read by me on the next episode of the Otaku Experience? It's pretty simple. Go down into the comments section, leave a thought, theory, question, whatever. It can't just be like, oh, you're doing so well. While I appreciate those aren't comments that I'll read, you know what I'm saying? Also make sure they're pretty kosher, because the channel, I don't run the channel. So the channel, I've seen go in and get rid of some comments that don't, meet up to the standard. So keep it clean. I trust you. Have a ball. Go ask me some stupid questions, and we'll get to those next week. Okay, without dilly-dallying, without wasting any time, even though I wasted a ton of time, let's get to the first story of the day. So this is very interesting. So NieR Automata, which is an adaptation of a video game, I believe, has been airing. Now, I personally have not had a chance to see it. I have been busy the entire year. I just started rewatching anime this week. Or not rewatching, but watching anime for the first time. I'm back into watching. That's what I meant by rewatching. I'm back into watching anime. I started it this week. I caught up a little bit on My Hero Academia. I started High Card, 2 very good shows, and then I've been super sleep deprived and going to work and trying to get back on top of things, so that way on my channel I can stream, the mid-season thoughts for this anime season, and I'll be doing that on Sunday over on the King Tannic channel. You can come there and check that out for that. So NieR Automata has been airing, and from what I heard, it's pretty good. It's pretty faithful, is what I'm hearing. I don't know if that's true. I could be getting the totally wrong impression on this. I haven't seen it myself. The animation looks great. It looks like it's doing super amazing stuff with the action and the sound design and things like that, and the voice acting from the clips I've seen and the reaction I've heard from it. And so I was really surprised to find out that they were gonna delay a few episodes of this show a few weeks ago, and they delayed episode 4 a few weeks ago, and it's finally coming out. Listen to this. This comes to us from Anime Trending. The NieR Automata version 1.1a Twitter account has revealed that the delayed anime will resume next week with its 4th episode set to premiere on February 18th. The delay was announced on January 21st with the official statement citing production schedule disruptions from COVID-19. The first 3 episodes of NieR Automata version 1.1a were re-aired in the meantime. The anime had its premiere on January 7th, effectively January 8th at 12 a.m. JST in Japan. And that comes to us once again from Anime Trending. And like I said, it came to a shock to a lot of people in the anime community that this episode got delayed. And we're going to talk a lot about this in one of our later stories of the day, with anime being delayed due to COVID-19, because it's still a real problem over there in Japan. People are still getting sick, sadly, and you know how Japan goes. If someone in the animation room gets sick, it's like we're shutting down everybody. Everybody go home until that person gets better. We're not going to spread nothing. Just in case that person accidentally spread it, we're just going to shut this whole operation down for like a week or two. Then you can come back and reanimate it when everybody's cool. And so they're going to delay a few episodes. So in the terms of safety, I accept it. And I'm like, yeah, everybody take a load off. Everybody chill out. Everybody make sure you're safe, make sure you're doing well, and, do what animation you can. I guess some anime are moving towards digital animation, and some anime are still on the papers, and some anime, they still want the people to work in the studio when they animate. There's a lot of weird rules that we don't have time to get into right now. But yeah, I mean, I understand it from the business perspective. Everybody, let's keep you all safe. Let's keep you all kosher. I would do the exact same thing. But the NieR Automata anime is back and it's returning. What is this? Is February 18th a Saturday, a Sunday? I'm bad with days. Let me actually check because, okay, it's a Saturday. Okay, so, a couple days after when this comes out. So, it's back. Yay. I'll probably be checking it out this weekend when I have a chance to watch a little more anime. I still have a lot of anime I need to catch up on. I'm not even going to talk about anime like Vinland Saga or things like that, like Bungo Stray Dogs in my stream that I'm doing on Sunday covering the mid-season anime stuff, simply because I haven't seen the previous season. So I'm mainly trying to catch up on anime that's new this season or that's carrying over from the previous season, like My Hero, like Blue Lock, like Urusei Yatsura, things like that. So with that being said, guys, what are your thoughts on the NieR Automata anime coming back this week? Are you excited? Do you think that maybe they should, maybe this is a wake-up call for anime and be like, hey, maybe we should be a little more ahead in our production before we release a show. So that way, if something happens, God forbid, in the production studio with the animators or whatever aspect of the team is still working on the anime at the time, that this doesn't happen, or at least the audience doesn't feel the effects of it that substantially where it's weeks with no episodes. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Okay, guys, and now we're going to move on to our second story of the day. And this is interesting because one of these things is confirmed, and then the other one was kind of leaked, but it's basically been soft confirmed by the studio. So listen to this. So obviously, two anime that came out last year were two I would say are pretty fun, pretty great anime. Lycoris Recoil or Lycoris Recoil, I get yelled at no matter how I say it. So I'm just going to say Lycoris because I like licorice. Anyways, Lycoris Recoil and Eminence Shadow. The Eminence in Shadow. I really like both of these shows. They're two completely different types of shows. One's a fantasy, isekai comedy spoof, and then one's like this action buddy cop type thing that might be a romance. We don't know. They don't want to commit to we'll see. But the fans seem to definitely want that to be the case. I think it'd be fun. I don't know. Let's see what happens. I didn't get that vibe in the first season. I thought they just seemed like friends to me, but who knows? Maybe I'm just a terrible person who didn't want to see it because I was whatever. Whatever. Do whatever the heck you want. I'm open to it. Okay. Anyways, back on track. I thought both of those shows were fairly good. Eminence and Shadow is still airing, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later as well. But the thing about it is both of those were pretty decent hits. Lycoris Recoil is like a phenomenon, bro. Like it's an anime original, and anime originals rarely get this type of praise. You see like one or two happen every year that get this type of praise. In 2021, it was anime like Wonder Egg Priority and Sunny Boy that got a lot of the acclaim and appreciation, even though they were anime originals. And then this year, I can really only think of one, which is Lycoris Recoil. I think most of the other anime originals, which is very sad to see because I'm an anime original guy, unless I'm blanking on one or the other. I mean, I guess you could count Cyberpunk, but it was adapted from... I don't know. It's hard to quantify what an anime original even is. And when you do have one, it's hard to find really good ones. And if they are good, it's hard to find ones with good budgets. So we have this, and season 2 has actually been announced. And same for Eminence and Shadow. But Eminence and Shadow, like I said before, is kind of like a leak. But then the studio basically came out and confirmed it a couple days later. Listen to this. This comes to us from comicbook.com. The official Lycoris Recoil Twitter account shared the major announcement as a part of a special event in Japan celebrating the series, with a new trailer revisiting some of the major moments from the first season that took the anime world by storm. With the confirmation that Lycoris Recoil will return, the anime production did not confirm whether this will be a second season, a movie, or perhaps even both, as Spy Family had recently announced a twofer in that same regard. Also not yet confirmed is whether the animation studio A1 Pictures will be making a comeback, as plenty of television series in the anime world have switched animators with the arrival of new seasons. Okay, and once again, that comes to us from comicbook.com. And yeah, everything they said is absolutely true. It's still up in the water as to what this is. All they said in the post, I believe, is that Lycoris Recoil will return or will continue. And so I don't know what that means. Maybe they said anime. They said the Lycoris Recoil anime will return or will continue. And so we know it's going to be anime related. It's not like they're going to go and continue the story in like a manga or something. One, it was too big of a hit for that. And then two, they actually confirmed that it's going to be anime related. So could this be a movie that we see maybe later this year, maybe early next year, or, whenever? I mean, ReZero season 3 hasn't come out, and season 2 ended like 2 years ago. So, it is what it is. Or are they going to do another season? Or are they going to do what Spy Family did, where they do both, where they do a movie and then back to a season? Same thing with Kaguya, which we'll talk about in a bit, where they did a movie and then they're going straight into season 4 after the movie. I don't know. I simply don't know. It's not like this is it makes me kind of excited that we don't know, because it's not like a Mugen Train arc or like what happened in the Kaguya movie, where the story is small enough that you can fit it into a movie, where they adapt a certain part of the story or they're adapting a specific arc that's small enough that can fit within the confines of the movie, because, anime adaptations are usually very faithful to their counterparts, whether it be light novel, manga, visual novel, whatever. So there's nothing to base that off of here. We don't know, like, oh, they're going to adapt the Shmemashma arc, and that's perfect for a movie, so they'll make a movie. We don't know. We simply don't know, because there's no source material to base it off of. And so personally, if you ask me, Israel, if you were in charge of A1 Pictures, what direction would you take this in? I would personally just go straight up season 2. And I would have a 2-core season 2, and I would split it in half between either winter or fall, or maybe summer and fall, or maybe winter and spring, at least one season as a gap, a buffer in between there, to give the animators a break, to give the audience a break, so that way when it comes back, it pops off even more. And I would just continue the story and the development. If we're going to do romance, we need to commit all the way and do romance, not just do this whole, they're just really close friends, we need to commit, or, just shut the door on it. Although that does create a lot of fan chatter. That's the same reason why a lot of romance anime and a lot of romance manga continue and go on for so long, is simply because it creates so much chatter. And then when the chatter starts to die down, they're like, all right, let's end it. Let's wrap it up. So maybe they'll do that here, where they won't, honestly, if you ask me, I think that's the only thing that's really keeping the fan base up. I think that's the only thing propping the tent up. Not that the story's bad or anything like that, but I think that is what the fan base latched onto. They latched onto the great characters. They latched onto the great character dynamic, and they want to see that evolve and become something bigger. So I think you do that. You keep the story character focused. Maybe something from Chisato's past comes up and they have to deal with that, or maybe from the other, I don't know what the other girl's name is. I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't know her name. It's Chisato, the other girl. Sorry. Chisato stole the show. She was even nominated for Best Girl she didn't win, but she was nominated. I gave it to Power. You can see the anime awards that I did on my Twitter. I didn't have time to do a show this year. We'll do that next year. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands over here. Oh, it's because my mic is over here. That's why I did it. I didn't even think about it, just subconsciously. Anyways, so that's the case. They also mentioned in this article from comicbook.com that A1 Pictures has not confirmed whether they'll be coming back or not. And I don't know. I would assume so, because the anime production team announced this, and I would assume that if it's not with A1 Pictures, they would have had to have gotten a go ahead, immediately. So if this was handed over to Cloverworks or MAPPA or something like that, Cloverworks, I would actually be really down if they were the ones to pick this up. Simply because I think that those types of tones match with this show. I think that'd be nice. I would also do KyoAni. I love KyoAni. They're my favorite anime studio. Mappa, I don't see that. Although they did Dance Dance Dancer. But I don't know, because when you switch anime studios, there's like an inherent art style change that happens simply because of the animators they hire at their studios, because they kind of have a brand at how things look. So it's interesting to see what happens. I would keep it at A1 Pictures. If you can't do A1 Pictures, I mean, they're driving Sword Art Online into the ground, so maybe they'll do the same thing with freaking Lycoris Recoil, and they'll kill this thing. If they do that, hand it to Cloverworks or KyoAni or something like that, I would go into season 2, focus it heavily on the characters, and kind of Godfather part to it. Have something that comes from Chisato's past come into the future, or something from the other girl's past come into the future, and like it's kind of a jump back in time, non-linear thing. That'd be my pitch if they were asking me. I don't know. Maybe you're hearing that and you're like, dude, that sounds absolutely terrible, but whatever. The other anime that got announced for a season 2 is Eminence in Shadow. Now, this did not actually come out. I believe it was Anime Leaks that announced this, or it was Shonen Leaks that announced this. One of those two, I forget. But they announced on Twitter, they were just like, hey, we heard from our sources, Eminence in Shadow season 2 is in the works. We're Gucci. And you know what? I'm not surprised. It's been a hit. It's been a lot of fun to talk about. It's one of my friend's favorite anime. He doesn't watch that much anime. The only reason he's watching it is because it's funny. And I love it. I think it's hilarious. I love how stupid it is and how serious it takes itself in a joking way, like it knows it's a spoof. It's great. It's a great show. And so I'm excited for a season 2. And so this doesn't surprise me. And then today, or when I'm filming this, which is a Wednesday, it was either Wednesday or Tuesday, that they announced that there's going to be a big announcement. And this was an official announcement. Hey, at this, next thing, where they have a bunch of announcements coming up. I forget what it is. They're having some big anime thing where they're announcing a bunch, like ReZero has a panel. They're probably going to announce season 3 there. A bunch of anime are coming back there. I believe Spy Family's going, things like that. They announced that at this event, the Eminence in Shadow is going to have a major announcement, and everybody who's seen the leak knows, okay, this is going to be the season 2 announcement officially. They just don't want to make it clear now. And I'm like, well, why don't you just announce it now? Because everybody knows. Can you just capitalize off of that? But whatever, it's fine. I get it. You do you, studio. Do whatever the heck you want. So those are the two shows that are getting that are at least moving forward. We know that Eminence in Shadow is going to be season 2. We don't know whether Lycoris Recoil is going to be a movie or a season 2 or something like that. Let me know what you guys think. Are you excited for this? Are you excited for one and not the other? What do you think of my pitch for Lycoris Recoil season 2? I'm not going to do a pitch for Eminence in Shadow simply because it's based off of the manga and it's staying faithful. I believe it's a manga. It might be a light novel. Anyways, it's staying very faithful to its source material. I know that. And so it is what it is. I can't really, there's no pitch because it's whatever the story is, it's going to basically be that from the source material. So there's not as much wiggle room there's no wiggle room. So let's just be real. Anyways, let me know what your thoughts are on those two stories down below. Okay, let's get into our our second to last little minor thing. These are supposed to be minor topics, and yet I'm really talking about these. I'm rambling, making my throat parched, man. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Demon Slayer. We talked about this last week. Demon Slayer Swordsmith Village is doing very well, and it's a quote-unquote movie. What they're doing is they've taken episodes 10 and 11, the final episodes from season 2, and they have taken it, or the Entertainment District arc, if you didn't realize. Anyways, they've taken those two final episodes and they're tacking them on to the first episode of season 3, or the Swordsmith Village arc, and they're releasing that as a movie. And I believe the first episode of season 3 is like a 1 hour premiere, so it'll be like 45 minutes. And then, you take on the last 2 episodes of Demon Slayer. It's the same thing, 45 minutes or so. So it'll be like a 90-minute, maybe 100-minute long movie, quote unquote. And it's been doing well. It was announced last week that it'll be coming to America, in Los Angeles, I believe like this weekend, like later this month, to do like a quick little fan screening thing of it. And they're officially announcing that it is getting a full theatrical release. This comes to us from Anime News Network. Crunchyroll announced on Friday that it and Aniplex of America will screen Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba to the Swordsmith Village. The theatrical screenings of the upcoming Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Swordsmith Village arc television anime in North American theaters on March 10th or March 3rd. What? Excuse me, Ishura? What are you talking about? Tickets are on sale. The 4K remastered screenings include episodes 10 and 11 of Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba Entertainment District arc, as well as the first Swordsmith Village arc episode. There is also a sold-out advanced screening red carpet event at the Orpheum Theater in Los Angeles on February 18th. The event will feature appearances by Natsuki Hanai, the voice of Tanjiro, Aniplex producer Yuma Takahashi, and theme song performer Aimer. The Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba to the Swordsmith Village World Tour will begin with a 2-day event in Tokyo, followed by special events in Los Angeles, Paris, Berlin, Mexico City, Seoul, Taipei, and more. Aimer's performance in Los Angeles is part of the tour. And that comes to us once again from Anime News Network. So if you're in Los Angeles, you're going to have a blast with this. I'm assuming the tickets have already been, it says sold out. So hopefully you got your tickets for that if you're a big Demon Slayer fan. I don't know how expensive it would be, but might be fun if you're a Demon Slayer fan, because you get a whole performance too. And you get to see this thing early before the rest of us, because we're waiting like another 3 weeks, and you get to know how it plays out. The source material is already done. So, of course, you know how it pans out if you've read that. But if you're just an anime only person, you get to be ahead of the other anime onlys. So what do I think about this? I don't really care. Look, we're going to get the third season, I believe, early April. So it's only like a month after this. We're actually going to be getting the show airing weekly. Now, look, I'm going to go see it in theaters simply because they released Mugen Train in IMAX. I saw it, and it was just a mind-blowing experience to see that animation and sound design on the big screen. I have really no interest in this other than the fact that I'm just going to see it on a big screen. It's not like I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to see Demon Slayer ahead of time or else I'm going to get spoiled. No, it's not really like that. Demon Slayer has never been a super spoiler-fill anime for me. What's the biggest spoiler of the show so far? That Rengoku dies? Not that big of a spoiler. There hasn't been like some major twist or anything like that. Not to say that this couldn't potentially have that, but it hasn't had anything like that so far. So that's not really what's urging me to go see it. The only thing that I really want to see it for is, one, so I can cover it, and two, just because it'll look nice. They said they remastered episodes 10 and 11 from season 2 in 4K. Bro, I gotta see this. This is gonna be great. And season 2 had some of the best fight scenes and best animation in their fight scenes that I've ever seen in an anime. So I'm excited only for that reason. But anyways, guys, what are your thoughts on that? Jump down in the comment section below and let me know what your thoughts are. Are you gonna go see it? Are you not? Are you excited? Is Demon Slayer overrated? Let me know all of your hot takes in the comment section down below. All right, guys. Let's move on to our last quickie topic today. So anime. I keep talking about it. It was my pitch to Rob for this show about how big the anime grasp on society is. And, I would love to cover ratings on the show, anime ratings. We can never do that. We never seem to be able to do that. They don't want to give it to us. They don't want to give us the ratings. I don't know why this is. It's really hard to find like a professional source that does give ratings. There's people who are like, this much. And I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. I need a source, like a professional source, like whether it's Anime News Network, whether it's comicbook.com, something. Nielsen, you want to start covering anime? That'd be great. Thank you. Something that can give me like, hey, this is what people are watching. This is how we can quantitatively verify with numbers where, anime is ranking on the worldwide charts. Because I think anime, like Chainsaw Man or like Attack on Titan, I think that they would be up there. They're shorter episodes, so maybe not, because they're not like 40 minutes like a lot of our stuff is now in America. But, it'd be interesting to see. So I'd love to talk about it for that reason. But I keep talking about how big the grasp on anime is on pop culture these days. And this once again just goes to prove my point. So, matey, obviously piracy is a thing. We have pirates everywhere, and they be pirating all kinds of stuff. There was shows that were hugely pirated in America last year, like Rings of Power or like Moon Knight or things like that. And it turns out that 50% of the most pirated series in the US last year were anime. Take a look at this. This comes to us from comicbook.com. Recently, Variety broke down data from Muso after the organization dug into piracy's impact in 2022. It turns out anime made up the lion's share of the most pirated TV seasons last year, and some very surprising picks made the list. To start, Chainsaw Man Season 1 came in second place overall with 13% of the annual share. Bleach Season 1 took 9% before The Eminence in Shadow, Spy X Family, and The Rising of S.H.I.E.L.D. Hero Season 2 came into play. Another animated series also made the list courtesy of Rick and Morty Season 6, and the rest of the picks were live action. Clearly, anime pulled ahead with a number of titles, but this is hardly a title the industry wants to carry. Piracy impacts whatever business it targets from the bottom down, from creators to animators, and even marketers. Piracy brings down revenue even though it raises a show's publicity, and sadly, even the most popular of shows cannot live on clout alone. Chainsaw Man took first place with piracy last year, and there is no telling how data for 2023 will look for a year from now. There are lots of big series are set to go live this year, from Hell's Paradise to Demon Slayer Season 3, so if you are planning to watch any of these shows, show some support by checking out one of the many legal streaming services dedicated to anime. And once again, that comes to us from comicbook.com. And there's also a Venn diagram that they released along with this that shows, things like House of the Dragon, Chainsaw Man, things like that. It shows a diagram of all the shows pirated this year. And listen, I'll say this. I'm surprised that Summertime Render is not on here. I'm surprised that the shows that are hard to get are not on here. The only one I'm like, okay, yeah, I get that. One is Chainsaw Man. And then 2 is The Eminence in Shadow. Chainsaw Man, because there are people who don't watch anime that heard about Chainsaw Man because of how big of an impact it had. And everybody was like, are you watching Chainsaw Man? You have to see Chainsaw Man. And everybody on Twitter is like, Chainsaw Man, Chainsaw Man, Chainsaw Man, And so people are like, okay, I'm not going to get a freaking Crunchyroll subscription just to watch one show, because Crunchyroll is expensive to just watch one show. And then also because I'm not going to wait until the season ends so I can get a free trial of Crunchyroll and then get spoiled that entire season waiting for that. And so people wanted to pirate it for that. The Eminence in Shadow I get simply because it's on High Dive, and nobody wants to watch things on High Dive, because High Dive is an external streaming service that you have to get outside of Crunchyroll. That High Dive only airs like 2 of the major shows in an anime season every season. It's ridiculous. I think the only shows that I'm watching that is airing on High Dive is Urusei Yatsura and The Eminence in Shadow. And it's usually like 1 or 2 shows every season that air on that. The only reason I have it is because it's like $5, and so it's easy to pay for. If it was like Crunchyroll expensive, I wouldn't have it, bro. But I wouldn't pirate it also, simply because it's able to watch. I have pirated, I'll be honest, I've watched a few anime that are not, available. I only pirate on one rule. If I'm a willing paying customer and they simply don't want to give me access to it, I'll watch it however I can. I don't just go and watch Chainsaw Man on, whatever those anime piracy sites. I mean, I know what they are. I'm not going to say, just so I don't encourage any piracy. But I'm not just going to go do that simply because I don't want to pay for it. Come on. It's right there. It's able to watch. I believe it's also on Hulu as well as Crunchyroll. There's tons of places you can watch Chainsaw Man. It's also on Verve. Like, you can watch this thing. And it's probably going to be on Netflix by the end of this year, most likely, I would assume. So there's places for you to watch it. What I'm surprised is not on this list is Summertime Render, because Summertime Render, while it was aired on Disney Plus in Japan and everywhere else, but for nowhere else. But in the US, it didn't have anywhere you could watch it. And so you had to pirate that if you wanted to watch it. I'm not going to say I pirated it, but anyways, it was one of my favorite shows of the year. It was my second favorite show of the year, right behind Arknight's Prelude to Dawn and right above Attack on Titan, the final season, part 2. I thought it was great. It was a really good show. And I think that they killed their show by not showing it to everybody at the same time. They killed their hype because not everybody could watch it, and only the people who were super interested in watching it went out of their way to watch it. Not a lot of people are going to do that unless it's like a show that's on the caliber of Chainsaw Man. And how do you expect to get that hype when you're not playing to the mainstream crowd, which Summertime Render did not do? It just baffles me. I mean, I kind of get why it's not on here, but I mean, whatever. It is what it is. So this is both a compliment and not a good thing for the anime industry. It's a compliment because it shows that people want to watch anime. It's a bad thing because it means that they're not doing it the way that the anime industry would like, and it means that the anime industry is not getting money the way that it should. If all the people who stream Chainsaw Man, because it was the second most watched, second most pirated show of the year in general, behind House of the Dragon, if those people paid for it and watched it, dude, that this is what we need. It sucks, but I mean, are we surprised? I mean, like I've been saying this entire time, the influence that anime has been having on pop culture is huge. This doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, some of the shows surprise me. I'm surprised The Rising of Shield Hero is on here. I'm surprised that The Eminence and Shadow is on there. Yeah. It doesn't surprise me that Bleach is on there, simply because there's so much Bleach to watch, so you don't need that many people to watch it. If like a few people just watch every episode, I mean, it's got to pop up there just because of how many episodes there are, whereas you need millions and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of people to watch Chainsaw Man illegally. So it's a shame. I hope that the number of piracy goes down this year, but the number of actual streaming goes up, like actual paid for streaming services. And here's the thing, anime, you have to fix this issue. There's so many anime or piracy places that are still up that I know about, that I know the exact website. They haven't had to rebrand. They haven't had to change their website domain. And these places have been up for like 3+ years. You have to take down these websites if you want to end this issue. I know that a ton of people use this thing. I've used it before, when only in situations when shows aren't available, but it shouldn't be easy to pirate things. I think that they need to make it harder for us to pirate these things. It's ridiculous. I mean, use a VPN, bro. Use a VPN. I mean, maybe one of your friends has Crunchyroll. Use that. I don't know. Listen, I'm surprised that like Comey Can't Communicate is not on here, because that show's very popular, and that show airs like 3 weeks in advance in Japan than it does in here. And I figured that people would probably do that, because you can watch, hey, by the time the first episode gets here, the first 3 are out in Japan. So I'm surprised that that's not on here. Anyways, I think this is both a compliment and a backhand to anime. And so anime, you need to learn and react from this. Okay, guys. And with that being said, we're going to get into our newest segment on the show. And that is this, anime. I was talking about it a bit earlier, and I was looking for anime. I want to find the anime ratings. We don't have the anime ratings. So the best thing we have is at AniTrends. AniTrends, if you don't know, they do polls based on the anime season. And so we're going to take a look at what the top anime was for this season. So for the week of February 12th, 2023, that means that, the week of February 5th through the 12th, or the 6th through the 12th, I mean, this is what the ratings were. So the top rated show this week was The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten. And this is its first time, I believe, up in this spot. And it went up 1 spot from second place. And so it looks like a lot of people are really liking this show, or at least this latest episode. I'm assuming the show as a whole, because it was just at number 2. And so it went up this week. So that's congratulations there. Next was Buddy Daddies at number 2, and that went up 2 spots to the number 2 spot for this week. Number 3 was Vinland Saga Season 2, which went down 2 spots to number 3. So Buddy Daddies and The Angel Next Door pushed down Vinland Saga all the way to number 3. That's very, very, very interesting, because it's freaking Vinland Saga. You would assume it'd be all the way up there. At number 4 is The Magical Revolution of the Reincarnated Princess and the Genius Young Lady. And once again, it's a terrible title, but hey, people are liking it. It went down 1 spot. It looks like a lot of these anime stayed in the same spot underneath this, but the top 2 pushed down everything else in the top 5, which is very interesting. At number 5, it stayed the same for 2 weeks straight now, which is Tomo-chan is a Girl. At number 6 is Blue Lock, but a lot of people won't count that on other sources. So for the new anime that's airing this season is Bofuri Season 2, and that went up a spot from number 7 last week. At number 7 this week is Eminence and Shadow, but once again, since that's a 2 core, they have another number 7, which is Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible, and that went down a spot from number 6 last week. So it looks like Bofuri and Kubo Won't Let Me Be Invisible swap places. At number 8, which went up a spot, is The Ice Guy and His Cool Female Colleague. At number 9 is Onimai, I'm Now Your Sister, which went up a spot from last week. And at number 10, which went down 2 spots, is Inspector Season 2. Underneath, we have some, honorable mentions like Bungo Stray Dogs, Isn't Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, Spy Classroom, Don't Toy With Me, Miss Nagatoro, My Hero Academia, Misfit of Demon King Academy, and so on. So, those are the top anime for this anime season, or at least this week. Have you seen any of those shows, and what are your thoughts? Does that kind of add up to you where you're like, yeah, man, The Angel Next Door Spoils Me Rotten? That was a pretty freaking good episode this week. Yeah, let me know what you think of this new segment. I want to start covering this weekly. See, like, hey, what's the anime audience seeing about this? Maybe you didn't like it. Maybe you're like, Israel, that was the biggest waste of time I've ever seen. Gosh, I'd rather watch Rob rant about Star Trek than watch you talk about anime rankings. Okay, my bad. Sorry. Jeez. Anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Okay, guys, let's move on to our big topics of the day. So, Valentine's Day. I know. For us, because we're weebs, we're all single. Don't even try to lie to me. I see you writing in the chat. Stop. I don't believe you. We're all single, okay? It's inherently in our DNA. It's part of it. So, when I went to go see on Tuesday, I went to the movies on Tuesday. I was by myself. I was the only single person in that theater room. Everybody else was like either a couple or it was a group of like 5 guys. A lot of them had like beards and neck beards, and it is great. Typical weebs. I love it. Now, so I went to go see Kaguya-sama Love is War, The First Kiss That Never Ends this Valentine's Day. They released it this Valentine's Day and Wednesday, so Tuesday, Wednesday. It was really weird because the movie takes place during Christmas. It's like the week of Christmas building up to Christmas Eve, and then like what takes place after that, kind of building up what taking place right after season 3 and building up like, hey, what are we now, Kaguya and Shirogane? What does this mean for us? And I'll just say, I really liked it. First, I mean, who in their right mind decided to release this now? I mean, I get that anime schedules, international release. There's tons of things that go into that, and they have to find the best spot. And I get it. But this is a Christmas movie that came out for Valentine's Day, so it felt really weird. Luckily, the movie was good, and I will say that I liked the movie. I really liked the movie. I thought it was great. Listen. If you've been following my channel, you would know that I really like Kaguya-sama Love is War. I thought the first season was good. I thought the second season was outstanding, hilarious stuff. And then I thought that the third season was quite a bit of a step down. I still like the third season, but I thought that there's no bits from the third season that I remember. The only thing I remember is the big moment where they kissed and the ending of that one episode, the rap episode. That ending was, that was fire. Those are the only 2 things I remember from season 3, whereas I remember bits from the first 2 seasons. I remember whole jokes and comedy bits from the first 2 seasons. I felt that the third season, the comedy really started to wear thin, and that was what was my biggest trepidation going into this movie. Was I was scared that the pattern of the third season was going to continue. Maybe we had hit our peak with season 2, and the jokes going forward were just not going to land with me anymore, and that maybe we had hit all the potential with these jokes and that we have to, find something else. They didn't do that. This movie is very funny, but also I would say is the most serious out of any of the Kaguya films in terms of what it's dealing with. So I'm going to do a non-spoiler section first, then I'll go into spoilers in a bit, simply because it was in and out of theater. So if you really wanted to go, you saw it. So everybody here hopefully saw it. I mean, maybe you didn't. Maybe you're waiting until streaming. I don't know when it's going to come out on streaming. My guess would be sometime during Christmas. Okay. So no spoilers. Like I said, this is a great return to form for the franchise. I said that in my tweet. When I saw it, it was great. This is exactly what I want from a Kaguya entry, into this franchise. I think that the best thing about this movie, like I said, is it's the most serious, but it's also very funny. It's a comedy show. It's a rom-com. What can I say? But it's also serious in the sense that this movie provides much needed character development for Shirogane and Kaguya, but mainly Kaguya. I mean, it's her movie, it's her title, whatever. And I think that, we get to really know these characters in the first 3 seasons, but we never get to know like kind of where their heads at least not in any substantial ways. There's like lines and there's moments of like monologues here and there throughout the show, but this is the first time where they actually dedicated like subplots to these characters' mental states and like what's going on emotionally and mentally inside of them, especially coming off of that big high moment in season 3. It's so much of this like teenage, oh my gosh, and they do a lot of interesting stuff, particularly with Kaguya, which I can't talk about without getting into the spoiler section. So we'll talk about that in a bit. Like I said, this movie is very, very funny. I thought that the jokes landed. There was a part I laughed out. I rarely laugh out loud, especially in the movies. Because when I'm in my house, I'm like, because it's my house. What you gonna do? It's my house. Can't do nothing. When I'm in the movie, I try to be a little more considerate, be a little more toned down. So it's a lot of, or it's like a lot of typical movie noises that you make. We all make those noises. But there was like actual like some belly laughs in this. I was like, it's some great stuff. Some great bits. They knew when to stop a joke. They knew when to pay off a joke, like they wait like the perfect amount of time to pay it off. What I just did was horrible, but in the movie, it's a lot better. I'm trying to give examples. I'm trying to make this interesting, guys. Quit looking at me like that. And I would say that personally, I find this to be the second best entry in the franchise right after season 2. So my ranking would be season 2, the movie, season 1, season 3. I like them all, but 2 were like really, really strong. 1 is fairly solid. It's funny. And then the bottom one had like 2 or 3 really strong moments, but just kind of came and went, and I don't really remember it all that much. And I'm not surprised. The My Anime List score, this movie is ranked in like the top 50 anime of all time right now. Dude. I looked at that. It was like I don't know what it is now, but last night it was like an 8.9 something or something like that. And I was like, bro, Huh? What? Like, I really liked it, but geez, I personally thought people would like put this below, maybe the first and second season, but say they still really liked it, but it's not as good as like the main show. People are loving this movie. And I'm glad we're on the same page, guys. That's great. Cause a lot of people hated me for how I felt about season 3. And I was like, I'm sorry, guys, comedy, it's subjective. But I would say that my biggest problem with the movie is that this felt like I was in the theater with a bunch of people and we were just binge watching like the first 4 to 5 episodes of the next season of Kaguya rather than watching a movie. And I mean that in the best way possible. It's like how Mugen Train felt like a long stretch, except it does do things in this movie where you can tell that they've already installed where the commercial breaks are going to be. I can tell immediately that this is going to be cut down into episodes and put at the beginning of the next season. I can already tell. You can tell where their commercial breaks are going to be because they cut to like a piece of artwork or like a bit, exactly how they do in the show. Where like they'll end right on the height of a joke. They'll cut to like a 5-second like frozen image of like with like a character making a funny face and like a thought bubble with text in it. And then they'll cut back to the thing as if nothing happened. And I'm like, stuff like that causes the flow to halt. And it also just made it very apparent. Like I was like, oh, they're absolutely going to make this. I wouldn't be surprised if this was made for season 4. And they're like, hey, what if we just made this a movie last minute? And they just threw it together real quick. That wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I still like the movie. I just think that when you're making a movie, you have to make a movie, dog. You can't just strip together a bunch of episodes and be like, it's a movie. No, it's not a movie. It's not a movie. Same reason why the next Demon Slayer thing is not going to be a movie. I'm just going to binge watch 3 episodes. It's not a movie. Okay? All right? Jujutsu Kaisen 0, that's a movie because it has its own structure. It's a movie. It doesn't have commercial breaks installed. It doesn't feel like you're binge watching an entire arc. I mean, it kind of does, but it has like a structure that feels like a movie. It doesn't feel like we're watching a TV show. And those are my non-spoiler thoughts. There's not really much I can say without getting into spoilers. All I'll say is, you guys know how my ranking system works, my rating system. We went over that last week. I'll say that Kaguya-sama Love is War, The First Kiss That Never Ends was fantabulous. I thought it was pretty fun. Okay, guys, let's move on to the spoiler section. Yeah. Anyways, losing my mind now. We've hit that point in the show where the lights get to me and I'm floating in the abyss. Anyways, so Kaguya, this is spoilers, go away if you don't know. Skip to the next section. So Kaguya is very interesting in this movie. So what they do is they go inside of like Kaguya's brain, and you meet like the different personalities, like the different sides of Kaguya. And they're like, hey, this is the really serious tsundere Kaguya, or I don't know if you would say tsundere, but she's really standoffish. She's a really dark version of Kaguya that's not funny. You have the normal Kaguya that we know and love. You have like this really childlike Kaguya, and then you have like, you know, innocent little Kaguya, like kind of as the judge. You know, one's the jury, two are the defendants, and then one is like the judge with the gavel. It's great, and it made it really interesting. And there are times when they like each one takes over like Kaguya, and like that becomes like the main personality, and you see how it affects Kaguya, and they kind of go into like what created these different sides of Kaguya, and they do a lot in this movie that talks about how much like they talk about like personalities and putting up like a front or like a mask, a facade, and kind of how like Shirogane and Kaguya both put up facades, and that's what the other person fell in love with. At least that's kind of how they view themselves. It's like Shirogane likes me because he doesn't know the real me that's this dark and this standoffish and doesn't like people all that much. And then Shirogane is like, she fell in love with me because she thinks I'm the most smart, most hardworking individual ever, but I really only did that so I could impress her, but that's not who I am actually deep down. And so they're going through a lot of these insecurities throughout this movie, trying to determine like what's the next step. They're talking to other people like, hey, what should I do? And I thought it was great. I thought it was really fun. And by the end, I was like, you know what? This relationship isn't going to work out, when they're like 30. But for now, that's a really solid, mature high school couple. Like for a high school couple, I'm like, bro, that is a mature couple right there. They'd be having the hardest conversations. It was great, especially in a rom-com anime, a comedy. Dude, great stuff. I did not expect to see that in this movie. And there's not much else. It's really them two. There's bits with the other characters like Ishigami or Fujiwara, or the brown-haired young new girl that was in. Anyways, I don't know her name. There's little stuff with them here and there. They show up. They're minor characters in the movie, but they're not like they're there. The movie is very much only about Shirogane and Kaguya, like the show, but it's not even like you get subplots with these two. It is very much Kaguya and Shirogane's movie. I would say each of them probably get, maybe 5 to 10 minutes of screen time each, whereas Kaguya and Shirogane each get like, the rest of that hour and 40 minutes, however long it is. I will say that with a few changes, I think that this could have been the perfect send-off for the franchise. The way they end it is they're like, hey, yeah, I like you. Will you be my boyfriend? Will you be my girlfriend? Cool. They kiss some more, and then they're like now officially a couple, which is great. It's cute. But they don't address like what Kaguya is going to do with the offer that Shirogane laid down on the table. Like, hey, I'm going to college abroad. Do you want to come? How is that going to work? And they didn't really address that. And I'm like, I get this franchise is a cash cow. Everybody loves it. Everybody continues to watch it. The audience just grows and grows and grows. And I'm sure that this movie is going to do great. Probably not because they only released it for 2 days. That was idiotic of you guys, but whatever. It's a great franchise, makes a ton of money. It performs, whatever. So I'm sure they're not going to end it. We obviously know that they're doing a 4th season. But I think that, honestly, this could have been the perfect send-off for the franchise. If you just add in a few extra lines that maybe weren't in, the manga, do maybe 5 to 10 more minutes of the movie, add on, and then infuse those into the conversations. This could have been like the send-off for Kaguya. Like, we don't have to see this entire romance go forever. We just need to know, hey, they got together. That's what this show was about. They both lost, or I guess Shirogane won because she kissed him, but then it's hard to tell what the rules are in this war. I feel like the rules were never established, or no, they were established one time in like season 1, and then now they just like declare at the end of a battle. They're like, hey, Kaguya lost, Shirogane lost, and it's like, oh, I didn't know that. Very cool. Anyways. That's really all I gotta say. It was a great movie. I had a lot of fun. I just wish that the structure was a little bit different. I personally would have had this become the end of the thing, simply because, hey, me personally, I thought the bits in season 3 were starting to get a little old. I don't want that to become a pattern. All right, I don't want to watch season 4 and have the pattern resume after season 3, because this movie the jokes were great, but I don't want to have that pattern resume where the jokes are kind of not that funny, and then maybe season 5 the same thing happens, and then it kind of just goes out quietly and like dissipates forever, and like everybody's like, oh yeah, first 3 seasons were pretty good, but it kind of fell off. I don't want that to happen. So in the name of saving Kaguya Love is War, I would have made this the end, but that's just me. What do I know? That's why I'm not making the big bucks. Hey, that's why never mind. I'm not going to finish what I was about to say. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Did you see the Kaguya movie? If you did, let me know what you thought in the comments down below. I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't, simply because it was in theaters for 2 days. That's such a baffling business decision. Why did you do that? That's so weird. Anyways, let me know what you think. Moving on to our next topic. So, Crunchyroll. Obviously, Crunchyroll is a major thing. It's the biggest thing in anime. Crunchyroll Anime Awards are coming out in March, I believe. Maybe later this month. I forget. I'll find out. I'll figure it out. I'll know because they'll start promoting it when we get close. So I'll know by then. But there's also this big annual event that they have every year called the Crunchyroll Anime Expo, or the Crunchyroll Expo, where, they celebrate a lot of the Crunchyroll only, franchises, the Crunchyroll brand itself. They have their own anime girl, they have their own Crunchyroll anime, things like that. It's one of those big things, kind of like how Disney has their own stuff, or, whatever the case may be, that's probably the most akin thing I can think to that. But anyways, obviously you have normal Anime Expo, which is kind of like just Comic-Con, but Crunchyroll is like another version of that that's kind of on par, if not bigger, than just Anime Expo. So they released a statement. Crunchyroll themselves released a statement about how there's actually not going to be a Crunchyroll Expo this year, which there was going to be one until like 2 seconds ago. Listen to this. This comes to us directly from Crunchyroll. Hey Crunchyroll fans, thank you for your support of Crunchyroll Expo. This year we decided to hit pause on CRX to focus on attending a growing roster of expos and festivals around the world. We also hope you can join us and watch the 7th annual Crunchyroll Anime Awards on March 4th, live streamed from Japan for the very first time. We'll be celebrating many of the people behind your favorite shows, films, and songs. And once again, that comes to us from Crunchyroll. And, hey, they confirmed when the Crunchyroll Anime Awards are going to be, March 4th. Very interesting, very good to know. And they say that they're doing this to, there's so many other anime conventions and things like that take place throughout the year. And they don't want to, because going out of state, or sometimes for some people even out of country, to go to this expensive thing, a lot of people like to dress up, so you get your costume, things like that, and then it's a lot of money and time consuming. And so like, hey, this year go see some other stuff, because we're a big festival in terms of anime conventions. Go to some other convention, go check out these other great ones that these people put on that never really get their time to shine, because we're always going. And personally, I think that, hey, that's very nice of them. It's very cordial of you. I don't really have any other thoughts on that. I just think it's very nice. Obviously, they were in the position where they were able to do this, and I hope that they bring us bigger and better things next time. They said that, hey, it's kind of a trade-off. This is the first time we're going to do like a huge Crunchyroll Anime Awards that's live streamed directly from Japan, instead of just like in some green screen studio where everybody's called in. It's going to be like official thingamabob. So that's going to be cool. And people are probably going to be there. There's going to be guests, probably live performances, like a mini version of the Oscars for anime, which is what the Crunchyroll Anime Awards has always tried to be, but will never be as long as they continue in their patterns. But we'll talk about that more when we get closer to the actual Anime Awards. I will say this is not really major news. I think it's really nice of them to do that. But I don't really go to any type of Expo or Comic-Con, simply because so much news comes out of it, and I like to be at home when it comes out, and also because I don't like to get sick. I think that's very nice. Thank you. I'll just go to I go to the movies when like an anime thing happens. People are dressed up there, and I talk to them there. That's really about it. I don't really do all that kind of stuff. I'm good. Have you seen some of those lines, especially when it's like anime fans, bro? It was trending last year at I forget if it was Anime Expo. I think it was, but dude, it was like, dude, they had to like closed the doors. People weren't allowed to come in. It was like sweaty. Everybody was getting COVID. It was bad. It was bad. I'm never going. Can't convince me. Unless it's like a year where I'm invited as like a guest or something like that, which, hey, one can dream, but it's probably never going to happen. If I get big enough that someone's like, hey, would you like to like come do this? And they like escort me through and I have enough room to breathe and not die of like sickness. Sure, maybe I'll think about it. But as of now, probably not. Anyways, guys, with that being said, what do you guys think that the Crunchyroll Expo is not going to be happening this year? Do you usually go to the Crunchyroll Expo? Does this mean that if you do, are you going to go check out another anime expo, or maybe not? And you're just like, I'll just sit this one out, then save up some money. Are you excited for the anime awards? Are you going to be watching those? I am, because I got to cover it, and also because I can't wait to see what kind of dumpster fire this is. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Okay, so anime, light novels, adaptations, things that we hear so much about all the time. We rarely get anomalies like Lycoris Recoil, or Lycoris Recoil, I should say, or like Sunny Boy or Wonder Egg Priority, whatever. We rarely get anime originals. And that pattern continues because we get a light novel adaptation right now. Listen to this. This comes to us from Anime News Network. Kadokawa announced on Sunday that the story writer Keiso and artist Kureta's Ishura light novel series is getting a television anime adaptation. And then they describe the anime as this. In a world where the Demon King has died, a host of demigods capable of felling him have inherited the world. A master fencer who can figure out how to take out their opponent with a single glance, a lancer so swift they can break the sound barrier, a wyvern rogue who fights the 3 legendary weapons at once, an all-powerful wizard who can speak thoughts into being, and an angelic assassin who deals instant death. Eager to attain the title of one true hero, these champions each pursue challenges against the formidable foes and spark conflicts themselves. The battle to determine the mightiest of the mighty begins. Bum, bum, bum. And that comes to us from Anime News Network. And listen, the only reason why I'm into this is because I think it looks cool. I mean, listen, the premise is like one of the most basic premises you can get from anime. Oh no, Demon King. What? People coming in to fight to become the most powerful person? Huh? What? You're telling me that basic anime stuff? Okay, sure. This could be good or bad. All I know right now is that it looks pretty. I mean, look at this poster. This poster looks nice. I forget if they've released like actual art or like a trailer for this to see animation in motion. But this poster, and obviously they could be blowing it out of the park, or blowing it up to make us think that it's going to be great in terms of promotion. But I mean, it's also Kadokawa. I'm excited for this simply because I think it looks cool, and I've been proven wrong. I don't usually get excited for shonen stuff. I'll be real, or not necessarily shonen, but this type of fantasy anime, simply because I've seen so many that are run of the mill. So this has to prove me wrong, and we'll see. Maybe it's so good that I'll check out the light novel. Who knows? Who knows? Anyways, what do you guys think? Have you read Ishura? Are you excited that it's getting an anime adaptation? Do you think that, hey, I'll check it out simply because the art looks pretty like me? Or did that story actually intrigue you? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. All right, guys. Now, I mentioned this at the top of the show, but for the past 2 years, or, for part of the world, even like the fall part of 2019, the pandemic, there was this big disease. I don't know if you heard of it, called COVID-19. Kind of came out, took the world by storm, infested everything and everyone. We kind of had to go into like an insane thing that many of us have never seen in our lifetimes. I don't want to say ever happened because but at least to that scale, it hasn't happened in forever. So it was crazy. It was crazy. It delayed a bunch of movies. It delayed a bunch of shows. It delayed a bunch of anime. It delayed a bunch of video games, whatever. But things started to bounce back. The pandemic ended. I mean, is it safe to say that? I mean, everybody's got the vaccine now. I mean, there's surges here and there. I mean, it's cold and flu season, so you get that. But I mean, like by the time summer comes, and I mean, last summer the rates were down. I would say, if you had to ask my opinion, I'm no doctor, but if you had to ask my opinion, I'd say, we're safely out of this. I think it's just about over. There's still some spikes here and there, but we're just about out of it in terms of generally everybody. As long as we stay safe, don't do anything stupid, all right? But other than that, listen. So it does surprise people when anime airing anime get delayed due to COVID-19. It's like, how, bro? How does that work? And I think we think about that just when we see the headline, we're like, what? How did that happen? But if we think about it, the way Japan is, and we spoke about this a little earlier, the way Japan is, you know, with how clean they are and everything like that, which is great. I wish, bro, have you seen the streets of Japan? Have you seen restaurants? People are so nice and clean there. How do we get this to come over here? We need this in America. I swear, bro, the streets are disgusting in America. Anyways, but I think we just assume that like, oh, how did like COVID infest this entire facility? Usually that's not the case. Usually when this happens, it's because one person, whether that be like an animator or like a producer or something, somebody accidentally gets it, they test positive, they get sick, and then the entire anime studio shuts down, at least that division making that show, if not the entire studio as a whole, until, you know, quarantine time is over, just in case, to stop any spread of that. And sometimes you'll see animators, you know, or whoever gets sick, you know, sometimes you'll see them get their workload at home. Like during the pandemic, a lot of animators were animating at home if they couldn't animate in the studio, things like that. And they'll start doing it there. But sometimes there's simply no possibility for it. And so the anime gets delayed. And that's what happened here with quite a few anime. You know, like I said, we're in the spike of cold and flu season. And since COVID's still running amok, you know, that is not a nice combination. So listen to this. Anime like Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence, Uncle from Another World, Bofuri, and Misfit of Demon King Academy 2 have all gotten delayed. Listen to this. These are headlines that come from Anime News Network. Saint Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence TV anime delayed to July due to COVID-19. Uncle from Another World anime's finale rescheduled to March 8th after COVID-19 delay. Bofuri anime's second season delays 7th episode by 2 weeks due to COVID-19. The Misfit of Demon King Academy 2 anime delays episode 7 and beyond due to COVID-19. Okay. I mean, it's a tragedy. I think that a lot of times anime fans are very spoiled, and I mean, it's good to be spoiled. You know, we've been getting fed well, you know, things like Chainsaw Man and, you know, big anime and, you know, anime that's been very quality, like Spy Family or like the Kaguya movie that just came out. You know, we've been getting great stuff lately when it comes to anime. People are coming into the anime community. It's been a great time to be an anime fan. So I think when we see headlines like this, we're like, what? Huh? Especially now that we think that a lot of us, especially in America, think that, oh, the pandemic's over, we're chilling. And it's like, huh? What? Why would you cancel that? Why would you delay that? Get back to work. How can you delay the entire thing? And like I was saying before, usually what happens is one person, it all takes is one person for an anime studio to be like, okay, break, everybody go home. Everybody go home for 2 weeks. We'll see you when you get back. And honestly, that might be the safest approach. My thoughts and prayers are with everybody who got COVID. I hope that there wasn't some big infestation into any of these studios or to something like that where a ton of people got sick. I hope that it was, at most, it was like 1 or 2 people, and I hope that they all make a safe recovery and that everybody else just has to go home, you know, while they're feeling fine. And I don't want anybody else to get sick, and God forbid anybody gets like hospitalized or anything like that. I think that we can all agree that our thoughts and prayers are with everybody there, and hope that they can all make a speedy recovery, so they can get back to making the anime that we all love, because we all love what they do, and they make these shows. They make the show. Everybody talks about the animation when it comes to anime. That's the first thing we think of, and a lot of times animators are the ones who are getting this. I don't know if that's the case with these, simply because there were not a lot of specifics due to these at the time. There might be some now. I don't know. I work with what I can. I'm sorry. I'm not some qualified. This isn't NPR. Don't ask me for all the details. I'm just some guy in his room talking about anime. Leave me alone. I'm not some, when it comes to issues like this, I don't know why I even talk about this. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Are you sad to see it? Do you understand the choice, but also sad? It makes things, I'll tell you what, can I be a little spoiled real quick? Like, I get it. Like I said, I said my condolences. I've done my part. Let me be a little spoiled. It makes it really hard for me to do like my seasonal reviews and stuff that I do on my channel, simply because they're delaying shows that I'm going to be covering. Huh? What? Why would you do that? Anyways, that being said, like, guys, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. But real talk, all of our thoughts and prayers are with you guys. Hopefully you guys get better very, very soon. Okay. Let's get into our penultimate topic of the day. And that is this. So Rascal does not dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. Obviously a phenomenon. Girls wearing bunny suits it awakened many things in many people. Many things in many people, including myself. It's very nice. Very, very nice. I almost bought the statue, but my family doesn't like it. I have to wait. I'm about to move out and then... Anyways, so obviously they announced after the movie came out, it had been a few years since the movie came out. They're going to be adapting, I forget if this is a sequel manga, like a different, thing, or if this is like a continuation. I don't really know. Anyways, they are adapting Rascal Does Not Dream of Sister Venturing Out, which is a sequel to Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. And what they're doing is this is a movie, and then I believe they're actually doing another season. I could be absolutely wrong about this because I haven't seen the first season. I watched a few episodes, but I think my brother was already like halfway through the season, so nothing of anything meant anything to me. So I have to go back and like watch it on my own. But from what I've seen, the animation is nice. It looks like they were talking about some interesting stuff. Obviously, the bunny suit. But yeah, I mean, listen to this. This comes to us from Anime Corner. Rascal Does Not Dream of Sister Venturing Out, a sequel to Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, will begin screening in Japan this summer. Studio Cloverworks will be animating the sequel, which is set after the events of the movie. The staff for Rascal Does Not Dream of Sister Venturing Out sequel includes director Soichi Masui, series composition / script Masahiro Yokotani, and character design Satomi Tamura. And once again, that comes to us from Anime Corner. I can't really comment on this other than, hey, this one is coming out. Obviously, this means for America, the earliest we're going to get this is probably going to be sometime in the winter. I would assume December of this year, if not, around this time next year. It's going to be a minute before we get it, unless they just release it straight on streaming or whatever. Anyways, what do you guys think? Did you see Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai? Have you read whatever this is adapting? Are you excited for it? I don't know anything about it. I'm sorry. I can't talk about this. Anyways, let's jump down to the comment section down below. It's funny, I rank these in order of like their significance to the anime community and the anime industry, but it's always funny because I always have like, a lot of times it's like the biggest stories are anime like that I have no qualification in talking about. I mean, last week it was like Sword Art Online 7. I was like, yeah, man, let me talk about this for hours, but no, I haven't seen it, so I can't talk about that. Anyways, guys, let's move on to our final topic of the day. And it's once again a topic that I can't really talk much about, and that is Pokemon. When I was a kid, I wasn't allowed to watch Pokemon. I've mentioned this before, but, there's things that, your parents hear stuff about, and then they're like, oh, you can't watch that, and then they don't watch it themselves. Now my little brother's allowed to watch Pokemon. It's unfair. And now I'm too late to try to even hop in on Pokemon. I know like the basics, like Ash and Pikachu and... what is it? Bulbasaur? I don't know. Anyways, I know the basics. I was a Beyblade kid. What can I say? But obviously, it was big news, trended everywhere, that Ash finally became like world champion and moved on with his life after, however many seasons and years of him getting rebooted and having to redo the same bullcrap over. I don't know what's happening in Pokemon. You might be hearing me go, Israel, that's not what happened. It's one long narrative. How could you? Whatever, man. Cool. All I'll say is that finally happened. They moved on, and they are now soft rebooting the anime, sort of what they did after Beyblade Metal Masters or Metal Fury did its thing, and they went to Beyblade Shogun Steel. At least that's what I'm hearing about this. I could be wrong, but let's say, once again, just take everything I ever say on this show with a grain of salt. Anyways, this comes to us from Anime News Network. TV Tokyo revealed on Friday that the new anime in the Pokemon franchise will premiere on April 14th. The show will air on Fridays at 6:55 p.m. TV Tokyo also revealed a new visual for the anime. The staff revealed a new visual for the character Liko and described her as a girl who has a mysterious pendant. The Pokemon Company stated in its business press, English press release that the anime will premiere in 2023 and beyond. The anime will feature Sprigatito, Fueco, and Quaxil from Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet. If that meant anything to me, I don't know what that means. Video games, and will also feature the legendary Pokemon Rayquaza in its shiny form. Very cool, and that comes to us from Anime News Network. I have no idea what they were saying. It was like they were speaking a different language, but it is what it is. Listen, from what the vibes I'm getting is this is almost like when they went into Shogun Steel after Beyblade Metal Fury, where, what's his name? Zero, kind of is in the future of the Beyblading world after Jinga had become like the greatest Beyblader ever known in existence. And they moved on, because where can you go with Jinga after that? And Jinga kind of became a minor character, in the background who would show up every now and then. And so I could see them doing the same thing here, whereas Ash is like now this world famous Pokemon, Maybe it takes place, decades in the future. Maybe he's now an adult. Who knows what they're going to do? I don't really know. I thought I'd let you guys know it's Pokemon. I don't know. I'll probably check it out. It looks like they're going more kiddish. They've updated the animation, it looks like to me. I could be wrong about that. And it looks like they're going a little more kiddish with it, because Ash always looked way older than how these kids now look. These kids now look very, very young to me. So I don't know what to say about that. But anyways, guys, I'm going to stop before I just embarrass myself with my ineptness on Pokemon lore. Anyways, what do you guys think about this? Let me know in your what you think in the comments down below. Okay, guys. And with that being said, let's move on to our last thing of the day, and that is this. I should have had this ready to go, but I didn't. We're going to be taking your comments and questions that you left on the last episode of the Otaku Experience. All right, so this first one comes to us from Life on Leo. Great video. I totally enjoyed it totally. There's no way they can capture the magic of Spirited Away with a stage play. I kind of agree. That was one of my trepidations that I had with that announcement. If you guys didn't know, they are making a live action. They're not making it. They've already made it. They did a live action stage play of Spirited Away, the Studio Ghibli film, and they're actually going to be releasing it, recordings of it with different casts in America later this year. And that was one of my same, biggest problems to get over with it, is that I'm like, how are they going to do some of the things that happen in this movie? Because this movie is very, very creative. So unless they find ways to do an adaptation where it's like it in spirit, but not completely one-to-one, I don't see how they're even going to attempt to do this properly. But I completely agree, Life on Leo. I guess we'll just have to see, like I said, in a trailer. Next comes to us from The Gist with Jared. Solid job, man. Like the addition of the text graphics for the stories. They were dope. I'm excited for Attack on Titan. Glad we're getting 1 hour in March, but wish we wouldn't have had to wait so long for the rest. Totally agree with you on the frustration with the show too. I liked SAO, but only watched the first 2 seasons. Question for you. Are you more into the Autobots or Decepticons? Favorite Transformer? Are you into DBC? That's 3 questions, but you said 1. But it's fine. I'll answer all of them. It's okay. I'm a nice person. Thank you for noticing the addition of the text graphics and being very appreciative of those. I'm trying to make the show better in any way I can and can make that better. If you guys have any ideas, let me know in the comments down below as well. I'd love to hear some ideas. I'm not perfect. Maybe you guys can think of something that I haven't thought of that might be better for the show. But yeah, man, Attack on Titan. I don't know what's going on with that, bro. Oh man, if the show wasn't good, man, I'd be a lot more angry about it. I liked SAO, but only watched the first 2 seasons. Why? I mean, I get it. After season 2, I wouldn't be all that encouraged to continue. Listen to I would say, try watching, I would say the first 2 episodes of season 3. Actually, no, because the movie is after. Try the movie. I think the movie's pretty solid. It's anime original, but they then made it canon to the anime. I would try that. And if you like that, go forward, because I think that the anime stays a lot more in that tone rather than anything in season 2. We forget that season 2 exists. I showed SAO to my mom. We're still working through it, but we skipped the Phantom Bullet arc and I kind of explained to her what happened. And then we just moved forward. But anyways, question for you. Are you into Autobots or Decepticons? As much as I have this Optimus helmet right next to me, I gotta say, Decepticons all day, every day. I would die for Megatron. A lot of it has to do with a lot of the Decepticons are my favorite characters in the Transformers lore. I just think that they're cool. They always get the cool stuff. If it wasn't a story, like if it wasn't a piece of fiction that has to have a happy ending, the Decepticons would win no contest. So if this was like real life, easy Decepticons. Favorite Transformer? Megatron. I already mentioned that. Megatron, going from Megatronus into creating the Uprising of the Decepticons and all the political machinations that go into that, and then his disagreements with Optimus, and then his fall from grace, and then him ultimately becoming too consumed with himself, and then kind of getting more twisted, and him ultimately not even fighting for the cause that he originally started with, and then he like dies, and then Unicron brings him back, and he becomes Galvatron, and it's a great character. I love it so much. Are you into DBZ? I started DBZ when I was a kid. I've watched probably 10 episodes. I never really got into it. But hey, I mean, maybe that's on me. There's so much I have to watch. There's so much that it's really hard to get into those really, really big anime franchises when there's so many other things that I have to watch as well. It's really hard. But I like DBZ. I don't have anything against it. I just don't have the time to go into it right now. So yeah. Next is Bobby V. Love your passion. To be honest, if not for your show, I would know nothing about SAO. That's a problem. Actually, no. I'm happy that I got to introduce you to the world of SAO. I love it. It's a great anime. A lot of people disagree with me, but it is what it is. Listen, here's what I would do. If I were you, if you have a Crunchyroll account, hopefully, I would do this. Take the first 2 episodes of Sword Art Online, the anime. Watch the first 2 episodes. Go and then watch Sword Art Online Progressive, Aria of a Starless Night. They're under the same section because they're in the same series. You just have to click on what season you're on and scroll down to the movie. You want to watch Aria of a Starless Night, and they play the same events but from the 2 main characters' perspectives, and they were made like a decade apart. But I think try that, and I think you'll be sold on the world of SAO. I think it's pretty cool. Thanks for writing that in. Juice Chronicled. Well, I couldn't even read that. I was like, anyways, can't wait to see Spirited Away. So excited. See, so there's an opposite opinion. Wow. Look at that. I mean, because another guy just wrote in earlier. He was like, yeah, I'm not all that excited because it won't create the magic. And I completely agree with him. I mean, listen, it's a story that people love, and I think that they wouldn't be filming it and they wouldn't release it if it was like somewhat embarrassing. It wouldn't have gotten to the point where it is now without it being any decent. So I'm assuming that it's good. I'm just worried that they're not. It's impossible. They can't do things that were in the anime straight up. They have to do some creative adaptation. I just need to see what they're going to do to see if I'm interested at all. But I'm glad you're super excited for it, Juice. Michael Carrillo says, manga has always been doing well on bestseller lists on America for a while. That's cool and all. But I didn't know that. I just started doing the show recently. But hey, listen, all that tells me is that, dude, it continues to what I say. It just goes to show how big the impact of anime is on general pop culture is getting. I saw this thing that said like I was looking into like demographics and things like that of people who watch anime, and it said like around 50% of Gen Zers watch anime, and that's a lot, bro. It's a lot less, every time you go up a generation. Like if you go from Gen Z to millennials, you like to drop off a lot. And then if you go to millennials, it's like whatever the heck else, those old people, the boomers. Anyways, yeah, it's very interesting. And I'm just happy to see it. Ruzio FD saw SAO Progressive second movie in Shibuya back in October on my latest trip to Japan. It wasn't so bad, but not better than the first one. I saw the movie again on Saturday. And I actually liked it a lot more. It's definitely not as good as the first one. I don't even know if I can say I like the movie. I think I'm just okay with the movie now. There's things in it that I really like. There's things in it that I absolutely hate. That I personally, I cannot view it as part of the main canon. If I would have to go in and strip things out, but then that makes it a lesser movie because there's things that pay off. That it's a very complicated thing. It's not a horrible movie. It's just a very complicated situation to be in if you're a super devout SAO fan who's super stringent on like, this is canon, don't touch it. So whatever. I'm glad you liked it. And I'm jealous that you went to Japan. So I'm jealous, man. That's not fair. I want to go to Japan. Rob, we need to go to Japan. And then looks like that's it because I've already replied to those two. And guys, yeah, that'll do it for this episode of the Otaku Experience. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this episode. Let me know what you guys think. Did any of these stories interest you? Or are you only here for my beautiful self? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I look forward to seeing you guys next week. If you want to find me, you can find me. I'm usually on Midnight Musings. I've been on there like 4 weeks in a row. You can find me there on Rob's show. And then you can also find me on my own YouTube channel, King Tannic. You can find me this Sunday on my channel, King Tannic, talking about this current winter anime and my thoughts. Because we're halfway through the season, which is already crazy, dude. Insane. Time is flying. We're halfway through February. Can you believe that? And then also I made a documentary, Voices of Central. We did a watch party on this channel last week. You can go check that out, or you can just watch the movie on its own. Yeah, you can find me on a few places. You can find me on social media at King Tannic Israel on Twitter, or just at King Tannic on Instagram. I'm around. You can know my DMs are open. You can say what's up. Maybe you have ideas for the show. Maybe you just want to, say, hey, Israel, you looked really cute today. And I'll be like, oh, thanks, man. But anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. That'll do it for me today, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys next week.